What's up, DFS players? We are going through the best NHL props and NBA props for today. So, a player prop I had in the NHL in game one, it did not work out, was McDavid to not score a goal. So, I had McDavid under half of a total goal. He did score in game one. This game was extremely high scoring with the Avs winning 8-6. However, in game two, I'm going to be playing it again. Connor McDavid to not score a goal, minus 137 on PrizePicks. So this player prop is from the OddsJam Positive EV betting tool, which again is essentially just a tool that shows you value. It shows you value as a DFS player, as a sports bettor. So what we can see right here is Pinnacle Sportsbook, the sharpest sportsbook in the world, listed under this OddsJam column right here. This is real-time odds from Pinnacle Sportsbook, the most efficient betting market out there. They're pricing McDavid to not score a goal all the way down at minus 171. On PrizePicks, we've gone through the math a few times. You are always going to be getting implied odds of minus 137 for a two-player prop pick entry. And again, the reason for that is on PrizePicks, it doesn't matter what two picks you go with. You're always going to be getting plus 200 odds in a two-player prop entry. 500 to win $1,000 of profit. So this to win column, it includes your entry, so it includes your stake. So it's 500 to win $1,000 of profit, which is just plus 200 odds. It doesn't matter if I take Curry's over, his under, if I switch this to Tatum and I take his over or his under. 500 to win 1.5K. So this is what's so crazy about PrizePicks and why it's so critical to compare the lines on PrizePicks to odds on the sportsbooks, right? So you can see for McDavid to score a goal, the sportsbooks have the under heavily juiced, right? FanDuel has this at minus 148. Pinnacle Sportsbook right here, the sharpest, most efficient betting market with the truest odds, is pricing this at minus 171. So we definitely don't want to take McDavid to score a goal on PrizePicks, right? Because the sportsbooks are giving you like plus 120 on this. You want to go with the under in your PrizePicks entry, and this is a mathematically profitable player prop on PrizePicks with a 1.87% profit margin, right? 1.87%. So at the end of this video, in the end screen, there will be a full-length tutorial about the math behind PrizePicks, but essentially, you need to be winning each of your player props 57.74% of the time to break even on PrizePicks. If you're winning your player prop 60% of the time, you are going to be a profitable DFS player on PrizePicks. If you're winning your player props 53% of the time, you're going to lose a lot of money on PrizePicks, right? So you have to be comparing PrizePicks to the sportsbooks, looking at the lines versus the sportsbooks versus the sharpest sportsbook in the world, Pinnacle, right here, and looking for value. So the first player prop I'm going with is McDavid to not score a goal, minus 137, which again was found on the OddsJam Positive EV betting tool. So McDavid's a great player, but we're rolling with the under because that's what the math is telling us to do. The sportsbooks have the under heavily juiced, which implies that the sportsbooks think the under is more likely, right? So Pinnacle Sportsbook, their market is plus 127, minus 171. So if you put that into a no-vig fair odds calculator, which is the most important calculator on OddsJam, so you should, read through this text a bunch of different times, what this calculator will show you is essentially what does the sportsbook think the win probability for your player prop is. So we can see for McDavid to not score a goal, if we're looking at the real-time odds from Pinnacle Sportsbook, the sharpest, most efficient betting market, they are implying the win probability for a player prop is roughly 59%, right? Which beats the 57.74% break-even win probability. So this is a sharp player prop on PrizePicks. Now, the second player prop I found on the OddsJam low holds tool, which just essentially shows you markets that are close to being arbitrage bets, okay? And what I see right here is a line discrepancy between PrizePicks and FanDuel for Jaylen Brown over 22.5 points. I already have an entry with Jaylen Brown over 22.5, but this hasn't moved. So if you click into the odds, again, we can compare PrizePicks, the lines on PrizePicks to lines on the sportsbooks. So if we go to Jaylen Brown, what's so fascinating here is we can see the sportsbooks, they're pricing Jaylen Brown, his point total, at over under 24.5. Right? Every single sportsbook has Jaylen Brown's point total at over under 24.5. However, on PrizePicks, the line is 22.5, right? So you want to take the over for Jaylen Brown. FanDuel Sportsbook has this minus 182. We're getting minus 137 implied odds on PrizePicks for any of our picks. And this is a line discrepancy, right? The sportsbooks are putting Jaylen Brown's point total at 24.5. And PrizePicks has this at minus 137, or they have the line at 22.5. So the value is on the over, right? If you can get the over 2 points away from the sportsbooks, this is absolutely a player prop you want to be all over. So there's no market from Pinnacle here, but if you use FanDuel, right, minus 182 plus 136. So what we can actually do is just go through the math right here. So let's just put in our 2 player props. So the first player prop we had was Jaylen Brown over 22.5 points. And then we have McDavid under half of a goal. So McDavid under half of a goal, McDavid to not score a goal, and the win probability for McDavid to not score a goal using betting markets from Pinnacle Sportsbook, the sharpest bookmaker out there, was Positive EV Betting Tool. So let's go back to McDavid. The win probability was like 59%, and this player prop has 1.87% profit margin. Right? So everything, probabilities, win probabilities are implied in sportsbook odds. So you want to be using odds from the sharpest sportsbooks to back out fair win probabilities, which is what you can do with a zero vig odds calculator. So the second player prop is Jaylen Brown over 22.5. Again, we can see the sportsbooks are roughly in line. They're pricing, the Jaylen's point total at 24.5. PrizePicks is the odd one out, the line discrepancy at 22.5. So FanDuel and Pinnacle and all the sportsbooks are roughly in line that under 24.5 should be slightly favored. It should be slightly juiced towards the under. So what we can do is we can use FanDuel's market, put that into a no-vig odds calculator, minus 182 plus 136 to back out the win probability for Jaylen Brown over 22.5 points. And again, we have to do that because there's no market on Pinnacle. Pinnacle only gives you over under 24.5. But FanDuel has all of these alternate markets, like you can bet on Jaylen over 19.5, under 19.5. On Pinnacle, you can't, so there's no market. So you could use a Poisson calculator, which is on OddsJam right here. You could use a Poisson calculator right here. Where is it? Poisson calculator right here. Or you can just use the market from FanDuel as a proxy of what Pinnacle would be if they offered alternate point total markets. So if you have questions about this, feel free to comment. But FanDuel and Pinnacle are roughly in line for the over under 24.5. So we can use FanDuel kind of to back out the fair win probability for over 22.5, right? It all works the same. FanDuel's model is pricing that Jaylen Brown over 22.5 points is 60.37% to hit, right? 60.37% to hit. And they're roughly in line with Pinnacle, so we'll just use this as our estimate of fair value. So the win probability for this bet was 0.6037, and then for McDavid, minus 171 plus 127. So minus 171 plus 127, the win probability of this player prop is 58.89%. So we're staking 100 to win $200 of profit. 35.55% win probability, which beats the 33.33% of the break-even win probability on PrizePicks, right? If you're winning your PrizePicks entries a third of the time, you're going to break even. You're going to lose 100, win 200, right? You'll break even if you're winning 1 out of 3 of your PrizePicks entries, which is an implied probability or a break-even win probability of 33.333%. So you want all of your PrizePicks entries to have a win probability above 33.3%. So we can see our PrizePicks entry, it's winning 35.5% of the time. So we're losing 64.44% of the time. Staking 100 to win $200 of profit. So we can back out our EV, which is just going to be our stake, right, times our loss percentage. 64.44% of the time we'll be losing our stake. The other 35.55% of the time we'll be winning $200 in profit. So we have $7 in profit margin in this PrizePicks entry, mathematically quantified using real-time odds from the sportsbooks. And again, it's so critical to compare the lines on PrizePicks to the sportsbooks using the betting tools on OddsJam, because you can spot some big line discrepancies like right here, Jaylen over 22.5 points, which is a player prop pick you should absolutely be all over for the NBA Finals tonight. So I hope you found this helpful. Connor McDavid to not score a goal tonight. Jaylen Brown over 22.5 points. Any questions you have, don't hesitate to reach out. Let's make some frickin' money in DFS tonight. And let me know if you like these picks. Comment below.